The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade.
Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876 919 5195 or shoppingassistance2015 at gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us Afarin Bellisario. And we are going to speak about little acts of defiance. And this is really taken from, her experience or speaking about music being haram. And she's going to even tell us about that. So before we go, we start. Afarin, she is an author, a consultant, and an advisor at MIT. And I know our conversation is going to be good. There's a lot of backstory to this, but I know it's going to be so good. And I want us to just jump right into hi, Afarin. How are you?
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on your show.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much. All right, so we can jump into it. What do you mean when you say acts or little acts of defiance, and how do those differ from larger, overt forms of resistance?
Okay, for little acts of defiance means that a lot of us who have lived under oppressive regimes in my former life, and a lot of people in Iran, for example, they have this experience. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of pressure from the government, from also tradition, from the way your parents say this is how you're gonna act, this is how you're gonna be. So there's a lot of pressure to conform to some norm, which we don't always agree with. Uh, but without not ready to go out in the streets and put a placard up and potentially endanger our lives for those. So we do little things.
Yes.
Like as you have heard in the news, for example, in Iran, women started taking the scarf off in 1 day a week or something. And of course, it's still dangerous. It has some precautions, but it's not risking too much. It's risking a little bit. Um,
Right.
for example, again, going back to Iran when I was growing up, my great uncle loved music, but his father was a religious man, and in Iran at that time, the religious it was not the music was banned, so you can only use music to like recite religious texts and things like that, but you couldn't like make a happy music or dance to it or sing to it. So what he would do is that he collected his lunch money and he bought himself a violin, and started getting lessons from a guy, and instead of paying the teacher, he would work on his teacher's house, and then he would practice in the outhouse. In the older homes, they didn't have inside plumbing, so they had to go outside. So he would go to the bathroom and stay there and play music, and he would pay kids in the family to watch for his father to show up. This is little; it's not big. It's of course
Right.
father finds out, there's precautions. But he felt that, okay, I'm gonna do something, a little something. I'm not gonna escape from the house, but it's it made, that was his act of defiance, of
Mm-hmm.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
accommodate.
In terms of little acts or defiance,
Yes.
um, how do they reflect broader cultural and social issues? And can you give little examples of how they have influenced cultural change?
Yes, for example, in Iran, you can see that, after a few women started, not a few, more than a few women started taking their scarves and chadors off, other women started doing that, and then there was a big movement. So there's always a big movement, when enough people do something. It comes from the fact that what they're kind of rebelling against is against what you would think of as rational. I mean, what is rational about banning music? I mean, I don't know if there is any,
Right, right, right.
but of course, religious has its own rules and norms. But
Mm-hmm.
when enough people, or in Iran, people feel that they can, or the other places, if you feel that what is you experiencing is not the right thing, and if there's enough, if you do that, then other people will do that as well, and maybe it will create a movement. It creates a mass of people who are against whatever it is that you're rebelling against. So um, uh, we have seen, for example, little act of rebellion in the sense of when I first came to America. When I went to supermarket, I wanted to buy some sugar, and the woman said, "Oh, no, no, sugar is now boycotted because they have increased the price of sugar. I don't know, by 15%." Not too long ago,
Mm.
last year in Canada, people started boycotting uh, some supermarket because their prices were too high. So this is a little. I mean, they're not, going and get in front of the store and making a noise, but they are, by doing it all at the same day or at the same time, they are showing that what the store is doing is not right, or what the sugar manufacturer is doing is not right. So these are all little acts of defiance that adds up, that it makes things, shows that you have some influence. And
Mm.
then psychologically for yourself, it also is a little venting. It's like, okay, you can't take it anymore. I don't know whether or not you remember the movie Network, or you ever have seen it. Is a guy went out in the streets and opened the window and said, "Oh, I have it enough and I can't take it anymore." So at some point, people start showing reactions. That's
Mm.
not necessarily violent or necessarily, against
Right, but it
law.
also contributes that sense of empowerment.
Yes, yes, it's a definitely sense of empowerment.
But
People have done that, and I've done that, and I have done. Uh, it's just a little thing, but it's an act of empowerment, as you said.
so there are
Yeah.
benefits. There are benefits to little acts of defiance, and some of them, as we just said, personal empowerment. So
Yes.
it makes sense that it helps to boost our self esteem and helps
Yes.
us even take control of our own life. Um, and it can spark change
Yes.
with
Yes.
us, and creativity, building resilience and solidarity, and even wearing something that we don't normally wear, because people always say, "Oh, you look better in black." Okay, and then we wear red clothes today because I want to feel empowered, and red does that for me. You know.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of women, they don't, they want to wear something beautiful. Like, I mean, a lot of women from Africa, for example, they love this beautiful flowery fabrics, and I love them too. They're just so beautiful, and they look so great on people. But like in the office, if you wear that, some people might say, "Oh." why are you so loud? And it's not loud, it's
Yeah.
just beautiful. So that's also another little act of defiance. If you wear what the color you like, the shape you like, don't pay attention to what they say in the magazines. Those are also little acts of defiance. It's just a normal human being behavior that doesn't like to be conformist. And as you said it, maybe we don't. Not all of us like to wear something drab. Maybe we want to wear something happy and flowery and colorful. So another little act, but it is.
What are some of the practical examples of little acts of defiance that people can incorporate into their daily lives to challenge the status quo?
Oh, absolutely. For example, most of us eat at our desk because we are on a Zoom or in a meeting or whatever, or we have to respond to email. The one small act of defiance is take your lunch and go
Yes,
outside.
that's right.
you know,
Yep.
10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sit outside, uh, enjoy the outdoors. I am lucky to live not far from Charles River in Boston. I walk to the river, and even if in a heat like this, once I get there, it's nice and cool. It's just little. It's just half hour. I mean, nothing big, but it's my show of my humanity, my breaking of the chain of meetings and
Yes. And also, I love that part because a lot of people stay at their desk and work while eating lunch without even taking the time to say, you know what, I need a mental break. Let me do this for myself, regardless of what they're asking us to do or what they're suggesting. Not because we believe that sometimes we won't have enough time to finish our work, so we use that time to get lunch in and working. We need to challenge that by taking our time, go and eat, and then come back to work. Also, speaking up is important because even getting up from your desk and challenging that and using that as an act of defiance to get up from your desk to go and eat, even if it's in your car, that is you speaking without even opening your mouth to show that no, I'm voicing my opinion and standing up for myself and saying, in this personal setting, I'm not going to sit here and do your work while I eat my lunch.
exactly. In my book, I wrote the novel Silenced Whispers. In my book, the main character, her name is Goha. She lives in a house that, like a lot of traditional houses in Iran, doesn't have a window to outside, and that's like 200 years ago. The 100 and some odd years ago, the turn of the 20th century. So she doesn't have any way of looking outside. And of course, there's no newspaper in her town, and back then there was no radio or television. So what she does is that she goes up a tree, she climbs a tree to the rooftop, and she sits there and watches the street, watches people going about their lives, and she maybe imagines the stories about them or whatever they're doing, whatever they do. But it's a little act of defiance. Of course, if she is caught, maybe that she gets chided, but it's not like, she'll be killed or whatever, but it's a little thing, but it's a still that sort of shows her that she doesn't have to be conform all the time. She can break
Mhm.
a little bit. And that continues, that little acts of defiance helps her to get outside the norm of her society and the traditions, and be even at some point advocate for other women, and
Yes.
advocate for her country, and advocate for her own life. So
Yes.
that's just little by little, but that's just you can't I don't know, you can't run a marathon if you have never ran 10 miles or 5 miles or 2 miles. So you just have
Start
to
small.
start small. Exactly.
Mm. What are some barriers that are associated with acts of defiance and how can we navigate them?
Well, the biggest one is fear. We always fear, okay, what if I, and my mother sees me wearing red, okay, or I'm going to wear lipstick, and what if my boss says that you're not supposed to wear lipstick at work, whatever it is. But it's our fear. So our fear is most of the time is worse than the reality. We always imagine things, but the fear is no excuse for cowardice. You have to get yourself up, and that's why one step at a time is important. Maybe you should wear that lipstick to the office. Who cares? Um, Maybe you should wear the dress that you want. Maybe you should not listen to this or that or the other. So be your own self, but we're always afraid, especially
Mm-hmm.
younger amongst us. They're always afraid, maybe, everybody will think badly of me, and they don't, just people probably don't even care. Um, but that's to me, it's the biggest challenge is our
I
own fear.
agree. I agree. And another one is cultural norms, because there are so many things that are deeply ingrained in us. It's as if we're free to the alternative things because of what, as I said, people will say.
Exactly, exactly.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start incorporating little acts of defiance in their life but feels uncertain or afraid?
Well, just you just have to you gotta start it. You gotta take over your own hesitance, and if there is something that you want to do, maybe you want to learn a new language. Okay, let's do it. There are lots of barriers in our life, but our own fears is the worst of it. And of course, I understand a lot of fears about this, but a lot of it is not too rational. So you have to think about, why am I afraid of this? Why I don't want to do this? Why is it that it's stopping me? So that's my advice. Be courageous. You don't have to, again, like, make a big deal out of it, but do little by little, one step at a time, and take
Mm,
chances. We have to take chances, especially
yes,
women. We have to take chances. If we don't, we are doomed.
I agree. Take chances, step out of your comfort zone. Don't be
Yes.
stagnant. Make changes. Make change and be empowered, not just for yourself, but the community at large. Because sometimes when people are afraid to do things and they see you doing it, they're saying, I can do it. This person has paved the way for me to do it, or I see this person doing it and it's not breaking them, even though there may be consequences to it. I can also do it, and I don't have to stay in something that I'm uncomfortable with or I'm unhappy with just because of cultural or just because of my fear and anxiety towards it.
Yeah, and it's very important to just say, okay, what is culture right? Is it really, well, why should I not do this or do that? Again, sometimes sometimes a bigger picture helps us. Sometimes if you're helping others, it's sort of like it helps you get over your fear. So maybe it's easier to go and help other people than help yourself, but both of them should come together. You should do that for your community, absolutely, but you also should do it for yourself, for your mental sanity.
Yes, yes. Afarin, I want you, before we go, to tell us about your new book and where people can purchase it.
All right. The book is available on Amazon, of course. Everything is available on Amazon. Barnes and Nobles, the barnesandnobles.com also carries the book. And there is bookshop.org that serves the community of smaller bookstores. Some of so those are online, but some bookstores also have started carrying, especially in my native Massachusetts, and hopefully by we start expanding that. So please, if there are independent bookstores who like to carry, we have lots and lots of help for them. So please contact me through the books email. That's silencedwhispersbook gmail.com. Send me an email in that to that, and I will be happy to talk with them about helping them sell the book. So book has good reviews, so please check it out.
Lovely, lovely. And if it is that we want to contact you, and if people want to speak to you, where is it that they can find you?
Yes, and they can either send me an email at afarin@transstrategy.com. I have a website, afarin.net. Just remember Afarin. I'm not the only one, but I'm very unique in that sense. So
Yes.
afarin.net is my website, and also through LinkedIn. Please look for me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. I answer all the messages that come through LinkedIn. On Facebook, I'm reluctant to answer, but I will get the messages. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm not on Twitter, not yet. Uh, please do contact me on LinkedIn. The best way. I get
Yes.
all the messages. Get out. I'm gonna answer them all the time.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
love to hear from your audience, and love to be in your show. And hopefully people will buy the book and enjoy it.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Afarin, for giving us this information. So little acts of defiance is not necessarily negative. It also can be positive, and it can also empower us and propel us and push us in the way that we ought to go sometimes. Because sometimes we don't want to do certain little acts of defiance because we want to be safe, and safe is not always best, especially when it's something that can help us to be who we are truly. So,
Absolutely.
yes, lovely. Thank you so much again for even sharing with us even your story and even speaking with us even on this topic. And I want to say thank you so much to my listeners on the Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.
Bam, bam, bide.